water might just have it.
That is fun.
The water.
Really?
It was the water.
It's so big in it.
I think that it was the water. It's been 3 times now. And
Every time you had that?
every time, no. This is the first time. But I think that stream was really contaminated.
Yeah.
You know, and it's every time we get sick, it's water. It's nothing else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then the guys also, they have told me that, you know, so when they get out, they also get really sick.
They do.
But it's like 2-3 days and then it goes away. I think it's just also the fact that our bodies are so exposed to the heat so much, and the exhaustion and the demand, that all of a sudden you stop, and then your body just like completely collapses and starts feeling all these other things, because this time, man, it was I believe that it was more emotionally demanding.
Yeah.
It's really depressing to see the children.
Yeah.
Because physically I was extremely prepared. I didn't feel, I was a goat, man. I was going up, like I was not cramping.
The mental part made it this time.
Was that? Yeah, Ben was the one that really, you know, suffered this trip. But
Wow, that's good.
yeah, I felt like really prepared physically, but like when you're destroyed emotionally, missing that, it's just so sad.
Wow.
Good evening to all. How's everybody doing? Oscar Blue here, live from Panama. It is a pleasure to talk to you guys. I'm seeing that you guys are logging in. I was just having a conversation with Matthew Tomlin, our contact and our good friend over here in Panama. A lot of you guys have, yes, analysis with a Y. I'm sorry, you know, I try to, you know, write it out with the voice, and that's the way it wrote. And it's my second language, so I apologize if that made you uncomfortable. But for God's sake, really, these people. But it's really nice to talk to you guys in this kind of circumstances that we are located right now. Um, where should I start? It's our, you know, it's our third trip to the Darien Gap. As you guys saw, our first trip was a 4-day trip. It was extremely demanding. And we finished that trip in the trail. We crossed it completely in 4 days. Really hard trip, the first one. The second one, you guys saw, and you know, it got viralized. An assault of, and also the Senafront border officials from Panama combating and fighting individuals that they were assaulting, raping, and taking advantage of families, women and children and men in the Darien Gap. That was her second trip. And in this third trip, I would like to just give an analysis with a Y, excuse me, to all of what has happened. I can tell you that physically, I have been preparing strongly for this trip. I knew that it was going to be extremely demanding because, as you see, we're located right now at a particular mountain. It is beautiful right here, the view. And behind me, it's raining consistently. Right there, that big cloud, it's raining. And I changed the camera over here because the fog doesn't give me a good view, right? So this third trip, I was extremely physically prepared. I demanded myself for more than 1 month to go through these extreme conditions because we knew that we were going into the terrain, that it was going to be wet, raining like it is right now. and there was going to be multiple rivers, multiple river crossings, and ultimately, it was going to be extremely difficult to go up and then to come down. Uh, the mission today was to go and walk from the town that is called Bajo Chiquito all the way, that is an epicenter of migration, where the migrants come out, all the way to a place that is called Caña Blanca, that is the middle epicenter of a environmental disaster in the Darien Jungle. We arrived into Panama and we went to the migrant camps, Lajas Blancas and Bajo Chiquito. Of course, when we went there, it was completely shocking to see what we saw. We encountered not only hundreds of people, but thousands. This is an exacerbated, and it's not only a humanitarian crisis, but also Panama has declared this as a national security situation. It is something that has completely aggravated the country of Panama, and all of this, it is because of the government that is right now in place of the United States of America, the Biden administration. It is the only one that is doing this. Alejandro Mayorkas and the globalists and the people that they are in the elite, and people, incompetent like Alexandro Ocasio in New York, that they're still voting for these open border policies. We arrived to Lajas Blancas, and it was more than 5,000 migrants located on this migrant camp. It was completely shocking to see it, uh, and majority entirely Venezuelan. As you guys see, is an exodus of people from Venezuela leaving their country because of the dictatorship of Nicolas Maduro. But we started seeing new entities that it was shocking to see also. We saw a lot of people from Afghanistan, but we saw a lot of people from Vietnam. That is completely amazing. And also we saw a lot of people from China coming in. All of it was documented. Ben and I, consistently, we were walking through this jungle with our cameraman Manuel, and also Matthew Tomlin, entering that specific epicenter of the migrant camp of Lajas Blancas. Without, without further ado, I would like to thank the authorities of Senafront and also the authorities of the Service National Migration of Panama, and also the Minister of Security, Juan Manuel Pino, for allowing us and giving us the authorization to go into the migrant camps with all trust of doing our work professionally, ethically, and ultimately respecting, the institution more than anything. But we arrived to Las Blancas, completely shocking to see that the feces, a lot of people sick, and it is so disgusting to see these international organizations, the United Nations, OIM, that they're, I don't blame the people that they work there. Really, I don't blame the people that they work at UNICEF in the migrant camps. I don't blame the people that they work in OIM in the migrant camps. I don't blame the people that they work in the United Nations with the UN in the migrant camps. They look good people. They look with their good intentions. I blame the institution, that the institution preaches of this global compact of migration that is going to help humanity and that is going to help the world, and that is more humanitarian, that an open borders is the solution, and that is nothing going on, and it is all love, and it is just, helping. But it's completely a disorder, it's completely chaos, and it's completely a crisis. And they have created this crisis. And now you have people dying, you have a complete culture being destroyed of the indigenous inside of the jungle. Now the perspective of a lot of the indigenous people has changed. They have accustomed themselves to live in trash, to live on feces, to live in the middle of this epicenter of mass migration. And they have created this idea that, why farm? Why go to the farm? Why continue to farm? Why continue our culture when we're receiving thousands from migrants? Let's just make it normal. Let's just make it regular, and let's just forget about our culture. That is one of the most unbelievable things that it's sad to see and sad to say that. We also, as we did that trip to that migrant camp, we returned at our day, that it was on Tuesday, that we were about to enter the Darien Jungle. And we entered through Epiragua from Bajo Chiquito, 3 hours to get to Bajo Chiquito, where specifically, we were going to start walking on the Embers route again, as we did last time. And the thing was that we were really, it took a lot of energy from us on the first day because, as you see, it's been raining, but it dries up so quick because of the vegetation, or the jungle vegetation inside. It's just, it's the humidity. It dries it up so quick. So it was raining, but the river was low, and it was one of the things that we had to push the piragua going up the stream and against the current. So it was really difficult to get up there. When we got there, one of the things that it was extremely shocking was the videos that you have seen of Bajo Chiquito. It is just another migrant camp that is being overrun, it's being surpassed, and the United States does not know what is coming. To all American citizens, this is not, and to all you libtards that are going to use your language barrier defense, this is not creating hysteria. This is not a conspiracy theory, and this is not, fear mongering, like you say, or white supremacists, or all your stupid language. This is a reality. The United States does not know what is coming, and it is not thousands; it is hundreds of thousands that they're about to arrive continuously on the next incoming months. And the ones that they have been incentivizing this, of course, is the Colombian cartel. There's one organization that specifically it is pushing migrants and it's marketing the industry not only in the continent of America, but also Europe, Africa, and now Asia, continuously and making a big profit out of migrants that they're coming now from Vietnam. Just unbelievable. We arrived in Bajo Chiquito. We saw the whole disaster that it was evolving in Bajo Chiquito. And we have heard that they were assaulting, that they were possibly, again, people robbing and stealing and taking advantage of women. The possibilities of encountering them were slim. They say that they were there last week, so we were like, oh, we are about to head back. We're not going to encounter that situation again, and we're just going to document and just walk alongside of walk in the jungle. So in particular, we arrived to Bajo Chiquito. It was a disaster. I just got to tell you, I never seen anything in my life like that. Really, I never seen it. It's something that is shocking. It's something that it will completely. Uh, it, it's just shocking. You will. I have never seen anything like that. It says you cannot fit no person in that place. People fighting over who goes first. Uh, Children walking on feces, walking on just on mud, just walking on and walking on contaminated water. Uh, it's just a disaster. A lot of people sick. So on the last few trips, couple of 3 trips that I have done to Panama, all the 3 trips I have gotten sick, and it is because I'm surrounded by around a lot of migrants. They're potentially sick, but I have drank some water from when I go inside of the Darien. Although that we have a microfilter, we have drink water from inside of the Darien in the river. But a lot of the water from the Darien is just so contaminated that they have damaged so much the ecosystem, and it's an ecocide really. They have damaged so much the water that bodies are in the stream, bodies are in the water. So all of that is continuously being driven all the way to the tribal towns. That is the most sad the tribe towns. And that is one of the most sad thing about it. So we started walking. We saw that whole catastrophe that is going on in Bajo Chiquito, and we're like, holy cow! If you add these 5,000, and if you add the other 5,000, that's 10,000. But hold on a minute. We counted how many piragua boats were coming down as we were going up, and we counted 116 to 118 piraguas. That is roughly 3,000 people. So you have 5,000 in Lajas Blancas camp, 5,000 that they were awaiting in Bajo Chiquito, plus 3,000 that they were waiting, that they were going on a piragua boat. That is 13,000 people that we saw in just one day. It is just out of this world. We never seen it like this. The Panamanian government has never seen nothing like this. It is the first time that they have seen something like this in their lives. As we started walking, the terrain, we started seeing that it was muddy, and we knew that it was going to be a hard terrain, and it's going to be difficult. And the first day, I believe, en el primer día vimos el primer muerto, Nano, ¿sí? On the first day, we saw the first body, the first migrant body, and first migrant that it was dead alongside the trail. And that tells you in perspective that Darien, it is not a route. They told us that a lot of people, we were going to find a lot of people that they were dead. Along that we were walking on the trail, you can also smell decomposed bodies. But we couldn't stop because the pace of these guys, the Centerfront, the heroes, the angels of the jungle, as I call them, these guys have a really fast pace. So, it's just consistent as we have to just consistently walk. And as we are documenting, we're seeing people coming on the Emburse route. We landed on a place that is called, I believe it is called Come Gallina. And that place, we camped out, and, specifically we started seeing that, the route was going to be difficult because the terrain was difficult. But the first day that I take in is the first migrant that we found dead, a body, and completely decomposed body. The enormous contamination that is inside of the jungle. They're talking about more than 60 tons of trash, clothing, and debris that is in there. And ultimately, the enormous contamination that is on the river. That, you got to go up the streams and not the creeks to start filtering on top. That is one of the other things that is difficult for us because we have to load up on water and carry our bags. We carry our bags and ultimately we start walking. So we camped out on the first day, and there was a camp across the river, around 500 people. So you're talking about, again, adding, because people are thinking, oh, you said 10,000 on 2 migrant camps and also 3,000 going up. You guys are not adding the ones that are coming, because specifically the authorities of Panama have said that they're receiving between 1,500 to 2,500 people a day when it's not raining, because it's difficult for the migrants to come down, and it is a matter of life and death situation from coming down from the Darien Gap. We slept there one day, and on the next day, 5 o'clock in the morning, getting up and ready, we started walking again, going up in the Emburse route. As we started walking, we started hearing, and we said, oh, here we go again. The stories of people being robbed and being abused, and also, stealing their belongings and stealing their money. Migrants there were being assaulted 4 or 5 hours from where we were located and where we were walking. Multiple migrants were coming in and saying, we just got assaulted, we just got assaulted, we just got robbed, we just got assaulted, we just got robbed. So we have gone through that situation. Ben and I had gone through that situation in the past Darien experience that we had. And on this experience, we thought, well, here we go again. I told Ben, hey, they're touching the woman, and also they're assaulting. So, here we go again. We go with that same experience. We know what we had to do. Stay behind Centerfront and listen to them in all particular situations that we have going to go through, and listen specifically to their directions. And as we're going, I'm asking consistently questions like, have you been robbed? Yes. Have you been robbed? Yes. And you're talking about hundreds of people that they were coming down, that they were being robbed. So clearly, we see 2 things right here. Contamination, people that they have lost their lives, and people that they were getting, again, assaulted and robbed. So 3 things that you don't want to do when you go out to one particular place is to basically to lose your life, be robbed or abused, or be walking in feces and contamination. That is what it is, the jungle right now. And as we were walking, multiple interviews that we have. Oh boy, one of the interviews that is going viral right now, it is the one that Ben Bergquam did with three people from Afghanistan. That is another migration that is coming. A lot of people from Afghanistan we encountered inside of the jungle. A lot. And I'm saying a lot of people from Afghanistan. And also not only people from Afghanistan, people from Vietnam. That was one of the most craziest things to see. People from Vietnam that were migrating consistently. And they were, we were asking them, how do you got here? Where do you got here? A lot of them, they don't even know how to speak English. They don't know how to speak Spanish. So it was really difficult to get the words out of their mouth to say, what are you doing here? Who told you to come through here? But the interview that Ben did with the Afghanis is completely unbelievable. Ben asked about the Afghanis, where do you work? And one of them said the United Nations. An Afghan migrant inside of the Darien told Ben that he worked for the United Nations and that the United Nations has abandoned him. And that Joe Biden is a bad president and that he's the one that's causing this. And because of him, he's migrating through the jungle, and that this organization of the United Nations has never helped this migrant that he used to work for the United Nations. So imagine a person that used to work for the United Nations is not even getting the help that he deserves to migrate. What help do you expect that the migrants that are migrating are going to help without working in the United Nations? Incredible interviews that we had. We started walking up. And we started getting close to the place where specifically the robbers and these criminals that they were stealing from the migrants were located. Every migrant was telling us 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes. So we started getting close. This was a place that is called Tres Bocas. It's a three-river connection. That is where it grows the most. That is the most dangerous place, and particularly talking about the rivers in the Darien. Why? Because that is the main connection where the three rivers they connect, and the mass flow, if it's raining on the head, on the continental divide of the mountain, it will come strongly down. So I think the comments are stopped. So I want to ask my moderator on the screen if I'm still live. Well, I'm talking like crazy because the comments stop going. So if you can just send me a message, you know how and where, so I can just see if I'm still live and if I should keep going. Because I think that the comment sections got stopped and I don't see the comments and I don't see anything going further. So if you can please just send a message through the phone, and I can actually see if I'm still live or not. If I'm not, let me just grab the other phone. Yes, you are live. Okay, thank you. So as I was going up, we were going up. We noticed that we were getting close. So this particular group that it was stealing and robbing from the migrants, it was not like the past. It was not described like it was the Colombians or they were Latin. They were Latinos. These people, specifically from characteristics, as saying how they describe them. They describe them as they were indigenous. This has happened. This is the open border policies what Joe Biden has caused and Alejandro was caused. That because of what he has done with his policies, now the culture and the people of the culture of the Embera and the Guna, some of the young kids that they were dedicated to farm, that they were dedicated to their culture and to provide and to live out of their pristine and beautiful jungle. Now, a lot of them, they have gone corrupt and they now dedicated themselves to steal, rob, and a lot of them have dedicated themselves to walk and to be a guide to a migrant inside of the jungle. That is what Alejandro Mayorkas and these globalists and elitists have done to another culture that it was pristine and it was clean and it was pure in a random area inside of the jungle. So these four criminals, they were from a particular tribe. Assaulting, one of them had a shotgun, as migrants were describing, and the other four had machetes. Some of the migrants, some of them they were saying there were 10. Some of them they were saying there were 7. Some of them they were saying there were 8. So center front officials, they carry a lot of equipment, artillery. They're warriors. They carry a long, automatic weapon, and also a 9mm on the chest. They carry their belt with their equipment that they need, and also their backpacks where they carry their other equipment for camping and so and so. 6 of them. Uh, they're more equipped attire than these criminals they were. But when we're talking about 10, and we as journalists we want to go into the front and see and record and try to get as much as possible for our audience, an American audience, for people to understand the dangers that these migrants are exposed to and what open borders do. So I started thinking to myself, and I told Ben, we need to get ready for possibly a man-to-man combat. Why? Because we're not allowed to carry. We are journalists. But if in case that we need to defend ourselves and they go in after us, we were preparing mentally for that in case something happened. And, luckily, in my perspective, I know how to defend myself with my hands. And Ben knows how to defend himself also. So that's one of the things that we had into an advantage. And that ultimately we were physically prepared and, for something that it would happen. But, we were not thinking more of that because we know that the center front officials are extremely prepared for whatever situation, even if there were 20. They know how to handle that situation. They're angels of the jungle. They know how to manage that in really precarious and dangerous situations. But in our minds, it's just swinging by, and we're like, whatever happens, it happens. So we were praying to God that nobody got hurt. Of course, Center Front did their meetings without us being in there. We were sitting down on the side, and they were sitting down a little bit to the front, discussing how they were going to enter and how they were going to try to ambush these people to detain them and to stop them from stealing and arrest them. We crossed the river, running through the other side of the river, not knowing that these people, that they are from a tribe, they know the routes. They know how to walk the jungle more than anybody. They are from the jungle. They live in the jungle. These are Indians from the tribe in the jungle. They had a bunch of lookouts on the first creek of the river coming down. They had one lookout over there with binoculars. They had 2 people that they were stealing money in the middle, and they had other 2 on the other side on the mountain in case somebody was coming from the side. So they were extremely organized on how to basically, in case of something happened, how to stop that, how to run in case of, Xenophon was arriving. And of course, when Xenophon was crossing the river, they saw with binoculars that we were coming. And Xenophon came in just 1 minute late to where they were assaulting. We were running behind. We were in one particular point. We were holding back, behind a tree, waiting for the action to start. And then later on, migrants started saying they're gone. They started running. One of the criminals started yelling, "Xenophon is coming! Xenophon is coming!" So immediately they ran up, the jungle. That is a really high up mountains, and it's really difficult, to go and try to get them. The beautiful thing about that, the only beautiful thing about that, it is because of Xenophon, the border officials, the whole terrain was clean. And they cleaned that part up. And nobody got assaulted. And nobody got detained. Nobody got assaulted and hurt anymore. So after that, we went and recorded the area where, the assaulters and these criminals were assaulting people. And you know, the head sergeant or lieutenant, is sergeant or lieutenant? Guerra.
Sergeant.
That's it, sergeant,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah, sergeant. Sergeant Guerra told me, go back to the camp. When you go to the camp, we're gonna camp out on this side, on the left side, where the first creek is coming down. There was a little mountain right there that it was safe, and we need to camp right there. So go back to the camp, but we'll be down in 45 minutes. 45 minutes passed, and there were hundreds coming down. Hundreds of migrants from all across the world coming down. People from Afghanistan, people from Vietnam, people from China, people from Africa, people from Haiti, people from Latin America, people from all parts of the world that were coming down. And those were the migrants that they were going to get assaulted and abused. If it wasn't for these officials, these brave officials, those people, some of them possibly gotten hurt. The women possibly would have gotten raped. The kids possibly would have gotten hurt. People would have got assaulted or hurt. So now the mission has completely drifted and changed. Why? Because now, we had a meeting and said, where are we going? They Center Front officials said, we need to put these people safe so they will not get assaulted or nobody should, in worst case scenario, die. So for me to go there, I would like to say this. For people that are asking questions, I'm there to expose. We are there to show what is actually happening, the reality that is happening. And for all the people that are asking a lot of questions, CNN is not doing it. MSNBC is not doing it. Fox News is not doing it. None of their correspondents, and I will tell you, have the balls to go in there and to do what we have done and to expose the reality and truth of what's happening. So on that night, on 3 o'clock in the morning, the next day, we had a hard thunderstorm that was coming down from the top hugely. The river, we started seeing that slowly it was growing. We were asleep, but we were hearing the rain consistently raining, 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 raining. So in our minds, we said to go up is going to be extremely difficult and extremely dangerous to go up. So the sergeant came over and told us, this is the mission. To go up is going to be extremely difficult. To come down is going to be extremely hard. And not only that, we have more than 500 people over here. My obligation is to take you guys up, but as I see the mission, your safety and your lives is first. So we have 500 people here. Those 500 people, the river is going to grow massively. And if we don't guide them to safety, they are going to die. So at that particular moment, as a journalist, you're there to document. You're not there to play, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat. You're not there to say I'm left or I'm right. You're not there to say I'm pro-Ukraine or I'm against Ukraine. You're there to document. You're there to work. And also, we are behind 6 officials that they're the ones that they're protecting us. But there's a guy that calls and says, this is what we're going to do. And this is the safest thing for you to do and to continue to do your work. So Sergeant Guerra decided we need to take these people to safety. And that has been one of the most difficult things for me in my life. Emotionally, physically, the first trip was demanding. It was the most hardest thing that I ever done in my life. Crossing that Darien in 4 days was extremely hard. The second trip to document, how the criminals were taken out and the reality of what happens inside of the Darien with people that they assault and they rob and they steal, and to actually be part of it and document that was completely an amazing and shocking video. But in the third time that we have gone in, to see children, and I will say this, we don't know their fathers and the decisions of their mothers. The children, they're not guilty for the bad decisions that their mothers and their fathers take to put a child irresponsibly to child abuse inside of those conditions. Although the father is going to tell you it is a necessity, we want a better life for them, but that is not a way to do it. And we saw how children were consistently crying, hurting, and just asking the mom in shock, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Why am I crossing this river? Why is it raining? Why people are hurting? Why people are crying? Why are people dead? Why people are drowning? Why? These kind of questions are coming from children. And it is so sad to see it when you're walking in the mud, when you're seeing a mother carrying your child. So I took the decision, talking about me personally, Ben can give you his own perspective and own explanation. I took the decision to start carrying children. Why? And I will give complete explanation, an open explanation to everybody. First and foremost, I'm a Christian. Before I'm a journalist, before I'm Oscar Blue, before being a father, and before, being this person that I'm standing right here in the camera, I'm a Christian. I'm a son of God. As a son of God, I have an obligation to not see other people suffer and to try to help. I see adults that they can handle themselves. But if I see a child suffering, in my heart as a Christian, I need to help. As a Catholic, I need to help. So I left that cape of being a journalist for a lot of moments coming down. And I carry children throughout the journey. It's really difficult, extremely emotional. And it was hard not doing it because you're seeing it, you're seeing how they're suffering, you're seeing what they're going through. And it's not their fault. Carried a 5-year-old, 7-year-old, an Asian kid, Latino little children, Latino little girls. But there was one in particular that was really difficult for me. It was a river crossing, and this kid was around 10, 11 years old. He was from Venezuela. I carried him in another river that it was difficult, but not as difficult as the next one. And the kid was completely emotionally, not only I was carrying them through a river, also through down a hill, and also up the hill. We went around the river because the river was growing so much that it was impossible to cross from one side to another. And also we went across through another mountain that it was so difficult to go up, extremely difficult, and then go down and then go around another river. It was really hard. The migrants were, and also Center Front had a cord, so we put one cord to another side. Sergeant Guerra was the one that it was always brave to go to the front and cross himself first, put himself in harm's way, and also put his life in harm's way to see this is the way we got to cross. Took the cord all the way to the other side, and from there, people start crossing. Carried that kid once, that 10-year-old, and on the river that it was extremely difficult, and the current was pushing real hard. There's the video. He extends his hands like this when I'm about to cross the river, inside of the river, and I couldn't say no. So I carried him on top of me, and I don't know who helped me. Possibly it was God's spirit, because he was so heavy. And we crossed him to the other side. And that was the whole I'm back. So the whole 2 days, the whole day, The next day, it was exactly like that. It was painful, emotionally painful to see it. And carrying children, the whole trip, people complaining, uh, consistent injuries. There was a woman that has gone blind because she drinks some water, and she has been 9 days in the Darien. So she had a bacterial infection that pushed her to go blind. And there's multiple people that you are like, what are you doing here? You're 65 years old. You're overweight. You're out of shape, and you put it's going in and out. Can you send me a text to both of the phones, please, to see if we continue or not, because the internet is going in and out. So the organized crime, these international organizations, they're the ones that they're profiting out of this. It is a sad thing about it that these people are profiting out of this, and they're making these people believe that this is a walk in the park, and it is complete nightmare and torture. So we walked continuously the rivers. Uh, Both of us, we had a hard time, coming down, uh, and it was extreme demand to our bodies, exhaustion. At the end of the day, was one of the things that we had. The complete, you know, uh, our bodies were feeling. At the end of the day, they were feeling really bad. But as we were coming down, in one of the last rivers, we saw another body of another migrant woman, presumably a woman. And I don't want to say this publicly until, it is now completely a legitimate. The government of Panama can publish it of who it is, but we already know who it is. That's a speculation. It's a woman that it was there for a couple of days, pregnant, I believe so. Woman that also um, she passed away on her way down. So another dead body right there. And as I'm doing a recording of that dead body, people are crossing the river and risking their lives, and children are crossing the river, risking their lives. Meanwhile, a dead body is there. This is how shocking and how bad this is. Also, forgot a day before that, when we were walking up, another pregnant woman from Africa was about to give birth on her way down. This is how inhumane these open border policies have become, the United Nations, how they have become, and how they are. This is what they have provoked. Crimes against humanity. Alejandro Mayorkas needs to be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. Joe Biden needs to be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. All of these leftists that you have, Alexandria Ocasio, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Veronica Escobar, Gavin Newsom, all of these people that they advocate, and even the Rhino Republicans, that they advocate for open borders and for people to come in, not because people are saying we're tired of it, Oscar, we have a lot of people. Leave that on the side. I'm just saying the crimes against humanity that they are doing, the disaster that they're causing to other countries, that they're causing to Central America, they're destroying the environment. And where's all these environmentalists? They're completely destroying a jungle. They're destroying a culture of people and tribes for hundreds of years because of migration, because of this irregular migration through the jungle. They are destroying continuously everything, the value of their culture. And it is because of the Democrats. And I just don't want to make it about these Democrats, but it's about these globalists, these people that they believe on this humanitarian migration that is completely the opposite, is inhuman. To go back, came down. Lastly, we were beat up. And I want to give say that my personal trainer really prepared me this time. So I'm extremely grateful with him because he trained me to have a lot of strength in my legs. So I never had a cramp that it was aggravated as the last couple of times. This time I was well physically prepared. I stayed hydrated. But ultimately, exhaustion starts to kick in, and I had my feet were tickling a lot, my toes, and there was something burning in my toes at the last day, and it was some kind of a, what is it, Matthew? Fungus?
Fungus.
Fungus.
Yeah.
It was really a fungus, but it was burning. It was cutting my toes. It was really bad. It was all over my foot. It was really bad. It looked really bad. So I was having difficulty to walk. And after we came down, Center Front officials assured more than 1,000 people to not die. A lot of people are going to say why they didn't stop them and return them. How they're going to return them. They're in the middle of the jungle. How? Their obligation is to save these people from dying. But I get it. I understand what you guys are saying. But the people that they're saying that, I would like you to make the same question to your authorities in the United States and to your National Guard. You can ask me the same question to my National Guard of Mexico, what are they doing? But in this perspective of Center Front, I can tell you that their obligation is to not let these people to die, because their obligation is to combat the narco terrorists and the cartel that is pushing this mass migration that is now a national security issue into Panama. So they saved these almost 1,000 people. We arrived to Bajo Chiquito. We were completely exhausted. 3 days inside of the jungle again. And as we arrived, again, we saw Bajo Chiquito overrun, a complete disaster. Thousands and thousands and thousands. And let me tell you, man, I say God's plan is our mission. That is a phrase that came out when we were having dinner in Puerto Ovaldia. It's Matthew Talmlet, Michael Young. I believe that it was Ben Bergquam and myself. We were sitting down, and I don't usually lead the prayer, but that time they let me lead the prayer for dinner. And I said, lastly, God's plan is our mission, Lord. So just tell us when and how we are going to do that. And after that, a miracle came. Center Front came and told us we're going to go with you. This was just what just recently happened for us to return back from that area, accompanying these 1,000 migrants to take them to safety. This happened for a reason, and always God has our hand, and I thank the Lord for that, for always protecting my brother Ben and myself in those circumstances. And now that our cameraman Manuel was with us, but I will tell you, something happened just today, and apparently a massive mudslide or a landslide happened around the same area that we were located. Why? Because it has been raining consistently, and it is the jungle. And as you guys seen on our first trip, we encountered more than 30 mudslides on our first trip, entering from Anachocuna, the jungle, and walking up the Loma de las Banderas, that is the mountain of the flags, that is one of the most difficult mountains in the whole Darien. And apparently, the speculation is that more than 50 people have died inside of that mudslide. They're talking about possibly, close to 100 people. And I'm not going to lie about it. There were thousands coming down before, in the back of us when we were coming down. And a lot of them possibly did not make it because the river was strong. It was impossible to cross it walking. Impossible to cross it even with a string or even with a cord. Impossible to cross it just being a official from Center Front, because they know when it is impossible to walk. And the migrants are exposing themselves because coyotes and guides are leading them, and they think that they're the ones that they know, and then they leave them stranded. And these coyotes and guides, that they go back and they made their money and they don't care. They're lifeless, godless people, that they don't care about human life. And this is what open borders and open border policies, what they have approved in the Senate and in Congress of the United States, it is causing to the countries in South America and to the migrants. And also, not only that, Mexico has been complicit about it. Guatemala is complicit about it. Honduras is complicit about it. Why? Because they're not doing anything about it. And they're not trying to find a solution. The only country that has tried to find a solution in the most humane way in attending this humanitarian crisis with a massive amount of federal funds, it is Panama. And it is being surpassed, overwhelmed, and ultimately, if it continues like this, it is inevitably in the lapse of possibly collapsing, because it is undeniable crisis. It is a national security issue. We came out, we met with all the team in our hotel, and I can tell you that when we came out of Bajo Chiquito, we saw again a complete disaster of migration. Thousands waiting to move. Again, the same situation right now. You have thousands possibly that they're getting out of Bajo Chiquito. It's raining, so possibly thousands are stuck on the top of the mountain, waiting for the rain to stop so they can come down. Sadly, I'm going to affirm this because it's a reality. A lot of people are not going to be making it, and they're praying to God to make it. But they're, to be real, a lot of people are not going to be able to make it. It's not creating hysteria. It is the reality. But this is the actual situation. It is something that it goes beyond a crisis. It is crimes against humanity now. Really, it is crimes against humanity. It is more than weaponizing the migration. It is more than thousands crossing a border and arriving to another country. It is more than what is happening in New York. It is crimes against humanity that these globalists, these leftist communists, they're doing to migrants. Instead of creating jobs, instead of creating a better atmosphere in their countries, instead of creating and educating them how to migrate correctly without being harmed and being secure, they're pushing them through a place that is a place to not migrate and people to die. And today we are located a few kilometers away from the border of Costa Rica. Today we entered Costa Rica. We were the team, Matthew Tomlin, Manuel, and also Ben Bergquam and myself. We were inside of the country of Costa Rica. We went in there to see how Costa Rica is doing. And Costa Rica, next country to Panama, is being hurt like a mother. You guys don't even understand and don't even comprehend how they are handling this also migration situation. They have a disaster when you're coming in. And the most funny thing is that these OIMs, these ACNURs, these United Nations Refugee Commissions, they have these tarps just alongside of a parking lot, just alongside of the sidewalk, just to say, hey, we're doing something right here or there. We put a tarp. People are living there underneath on the floor. That is what they do. It's a humanitarian crisis also in Costa Rica. As migrants are moving on, moving people, now the migrants are stranded, and like every border, they're stranded looking for money, working on the streets, selling, and other ones, they're doing good stuff, some of them doing bad stuff, but they're waiting to move little by little into the known borders of the United States. That has been in a synopsis. Is that a word? Yes. So I always make up my own English. That's a word, right?
Yeah.
It's in a synopsis. That has been, in a nutshell, let's say, that has been our trip. Completely exhausting, I can tell you. We are located right now in a beautiful place that our good friend Matthew brought us, because tomorrow we have a broadcast and a hit also close to the border of Costa Rica. And this place is so peaceful that I can tell you, as soon as we came in here, I just wanted to go to sleep. And I just went into bed, dropped, and went to sleep. My body started acting differently because we stopped walking and stopped having that activity. So I started getting, alert, the reactions of the aftermath of reactions. Started getting sick. Fever started, coming in. Feet started hurting. Stomach ache, completely stomach ache, and also, body ache. It was one of the things that started hurting. Also, Ben was also sick, and ultimately, I started getting better. You want to say something, real quick? Real quick. Let me put the mic on right here, so you can say something. Come on, say something. Say something about the trip and everything we got.
It was bad, man.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Bad.
Oh, you 5 minutes.
It's all bad. Yeah.
No.
The environmentalists, the frauds, the leftists, the NGOs, the United Nations. It's all good. I got it. The United Nations. They've invited this thing, and they're not being held accountable. And it's up to you, the American people, and the people of Mexico, and the people of Panama, and the people of the world to hold them accountable. We're going into places that the mainstream media has ignored for so long. They're complicit. They haven't even ignored it, Oscar. They're complicit in this, and this is one of the things that really frustrates me. It's because this could stop easily. All you have to do is save these countries, help these countries save themselves. But the solution is not millions of people leaving their countries to come to America. That's not the solution. What we're witnessing is millions of deaths, millions of lives being destroyed, billions of dollars being transferred from law-abiding citizens to non-law-abiding citizens and to organizations who are supporting criminals. So it's just all bad. It's all bad, and that's why we're here showing it. Children. Yeah, no, it's like it's hell. It's hell. The Darien Gap's hell. What they've turned it into, it's paradise that's been turned into hell. And for the indigenous people, for the people that are coming through, the kids, there's no words to describe how angry you get when you see these kids being drugged through this. I think about my daughters. We were crying at one point because I'm looking at these kids and I'm just like, it's pure evil. The most innocent people on the planet, and they're just being, they're just being destroyed, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Weaponizing migration.
Yeah, all of that.
All right. So
God bless you.
Yes, that's my brother right here. So for people that are watching, that's kind of like a little bit of the situation of what.
Hey.
Yeah, go ahead.
Buy me a coffee. Support this guy. Support him. Are the links on there?
And I think, yeah, the links on
Put the link on there. Support this guy. Support what he's doing. God bless him, man. Buy him like 1,000 coffees.
That was
not just
really
one coffee.
Nice of you.
Not just one coffee.
Am I getting a white privilege?
1,000 coffees.
1,000. That's a white privilege kind of hookup, huh? So, thank you so much. I got 10% on the battery of the phone. That's kind of like the explanation of what we have done in these days. It's emotionally has been really draining for me. As Ben said, it was just inevitable to not cry or to not feel for children. For people that they were, was a comment that I saw on Instagram, a really harsh comment. It said like, leave them to die, something like that. We have our own children. And it is just like, and that tells you about these people so-called, they call themselves Christians. And, we know that legal migration is the number one thing that we need to do. And that this is bad and this is wrong. But letting a child to die, it is more wrong than anything. So, that has been our trip in a nutshell. I hope that we can recuperate, immediately. We're trying. Physically, we are good. Emotionally, I cannot tell you that we are up there. Seeing dead bodies and seeing, children, almost in the limp of dying. It's not nice. It's not a thing that you take home. Me, that I have an 8-year-old, I never. That's why possibly I was carrying so many children, because it reminded me of my son, and I never want to put my son through that in my life. And I saw the parent, and you guys don't even understand how many times I went off on so many parents. I went off so many times on so many parents, telling them like, what the hell are you doing? Look at your child. And, and they realize that when they're in the middle of it, but it's too late. you know, it's too late because you're already in it and you already took that irresponsible decision to put your child through that. And that it has to be said like it is. It is a problem. It's causing. The United States cannot be the solution for the world. We already know that. And it is up to the good American people, people in Mexico. We need to. The elections of our country is next year. We need to understand that we need to get out of this global compact on migration. It is not helping. It is actually being completely the opposite. It's hurting not us. Not only us. It is hurting people. So that is the number one thing. And the American people, what you did to Alexandria Ocasio today or yesterday in New York or the day before, you need to do that 10 times more. That's what you need to do. Hold these people accountable. Every single leftist Democrat that is, you know, for these open border policies and destroying cities and destroying law and order and basically destroying the American dream. Because the American dream, it is for every citizen that arrives, but also what happened to the American dream for people of the United States of America. So they're actually destroying all of that. You need to do that 10 times more so they will understand that the power is within we the people, not we the government. God bless you, every single one of you. Stay safe. Take care of you guys. If you guys like to contribute to my independent reporting and travel fund, you can buy me a copy. There is the link. Thank you so much. God bless every single one of you. Before I go, Real America's Voice, thank you, Rob Sig, Rob Shorts, Mr. Rob Sig, Rob Shorts, for the trip. Again, it is the only network that is putting an effort to show you the reality and truth of the new conservative Christian network that is giving you the opportunity to see this for your own eyes and in your own screen, and also giving us the opportunity to travel and go to places and to see and to be professional and ethical with other networks and ultimately with the governments and work with institutions to understand what is happening into their countries. We're growing. Real America's Voice News is growing massively, and that is a beautiful thing that God has given us the opportunity to do so. So, Patriot Mobile, promo code RAV. Go over there. Satellite phone. What is it, Ben?
RAVSAT.com.
What is it? RAV?
RAVSAT. RAVSAT.com.
Oh, okay. Satellite company, RAVSAT.com. Be sure to go over there. Best satellite company, and also Patriot Mobile, the best mobile company in the planet. In the planet. The best mobile company in the planet. Go over there and support good American companies, hardworking Americans, hardworking patriots, that they're starting their own companies. Patriot Mobile at patriotmobile.com. Promo code RAP. God bless you. Thank you so much. Stay safe. We're about to go have some dinner. Huge shout out and thanks to our great friend, the most nicest man that I ever met in my life, Mr. Matthew Tamlet. Grandma driver, NASCAR grandma driving. And I will tell you something before I go. If they had a grandma driving competition,
He would win.
he will actually...
He would identify.
He will identify. He will win. He's the nicest man that we ever met in this. And Matthew, say hello to the audience. Come real quick, man. Real quick. Say hello. This is Matthew right here. Matthew. That's Matthew right there. So, Manuel, ven rápido, ven. And this is our cameraman. First time in the Darien. Manuel de Jesus right here. First time in the Darien. That he has walked with me so many caravans. He's my cameraman in Tapachula. He has walked, possibly like 6 or 7 caravans with me. So he crossed the Darien for the first time. Went up the Darien for the first time. It was really hard for him. Really hard experience emotionally also. So we're going to have some dinner, guys. Nice giving you a small synopsis of what has been going on and what's been happening. Pray for us. We pray for you. We pray together. Prayer is the number one thing.
Wait.
What is that? What is that?
What is that? Why is it not working? Hang on.
What's that? Thank you. I'm ended. So God bless you guys. Take care. Also follow all of our networks.
You gotta start over. Now they can see you.
Smile so they can see you. Show your teeth, Oscar Blue. There it is. Oh, thank you so much. Oh man, I look real white. Look at that. Look at that. That's white privilege right there. God bless you guys. Take care of yourself. Follow my brother. The team, Michael Young, and all the people. God bless you guys. Stay safe. And like we always say, God's plan is our mission.